his senior Liberal MP said that there is a strategic decision made on that side to stigmatize, and these are not my words, stigmatize, divide, and wedge. This is what the Prime Minister did. Why?
The right honourable Prime Minister.
Continue to do in following the science. But you talk about, the member opposite talks about Canadian suffering. Supply chains disrupted, Canadians in their homes worried of walking their streets because they continue to support blockades that are hurting businesses across the country. Will the Conservative leader stand up and condemn those blockades?
What, are you retarded?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Jazz Gonzo here. Another What's Next. Happy Friday. TGIF, yes, indeed. The situation with Canada and the Canadian truckers' fight for freedom continues to increase to the point where there is now an American version building. You have American truckers who are starting off in Los Angeles, and they're going to make their way across the country and end up in D.C. But in the meanwhile, while that's going on, you got stories coming out of Canada left, right, and center, so let's just jump to it. This comes out of Breitbart. Of course, now Dementia Boy has decided to stick his nose in where he doesn't belong, but then again, that's what Biden does best. Report, Biden administration urges Justin Trudeau to use federal powers against the truckers. Yes, those racist truckers, those white supremes, as Trudeau has lovingly called them. The Biden administration reportedly urged Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to use federal powers to quell the truck blockade that has halted the flow of auto parts on the Ambassador Bridge. That Ambassador Bridge is the bridge between Windsor, Canada, and, of course, Detroit. For the past 4 days, the Canadian Freedom Convoy protests have blocked traffic on the main thoroughfare connecting Windsor, Ontario to Detroit, forcing auto plants in both countries to either shut down or slow production due to the delay of part deliveries. Quote, the White House said Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg spoke with the Canadian counterparts and urged them to resolve the standoff, basically forcing Canada to use federal powers to get rid of the truckers. A quote, federal government official said they are not ruling out any options. The official spoke on condition of anonymity, and they were not authorized to speak publicly. Of course not. The bridge carries 25% of all trade between the U.S. and Canada. Effects of the blockades were immediately felt by automakers and Midwest economies. From Gretchen Whitmer, yes, ass clown governor of Michigan. Quote, it's hitting paychecks and production lines. That is unacceptable. Like Chinese face diapers and forced faxes. That's unacceptable too, isn't it? Exactly the type of federal powers that Justin Trudeau could employ to stop the blockade was not detailed, though Prime Minister has said that military remains off the table for now. Local truck companies have refused to cooperate with authorities. We go from that to this. This comes out of the Daily Wire. Canada court freezes Freedom Convoy Give, Send, Go donations after the debacle of GoFundMe, which froze $9 million of donations, and then, of course, was forced because due to backlash to give that $9 million back to those who donated it. Here we go again. Thursday evening in Ontario, Canada, court effectively froze access to monetary donations to truckers and other Canadians participating in the Freedom Convoy protests in Ottawa, Canada. Elsewhere, through a government order, the Freedom Convoy, a group of more than 50,000 truckers protesting the COOF mandate, vaccine mandates and restrictions throughout Canadian government, raised more than $8 million through the online crowd resourcing platform Give, Send, Go. After GoFundMe kicked the group off its platform last Friday, now that the money's in limbo and neither truckers nor donors can gain access per court order. Andrew Lawton, Canadian talk show host. The Ontario government said it has effectively frozen all donations made to the trucker convoy through Give, Send, Go. It's now a criminal offense to have any, quote, dealing with money from donations through this platform. Think about that. Canadian government has said a crowdfunding resource, Give, Send, Go, is now against the law to donate to them. How's that for freedom, Canadians? Let's see. This afternoon, the order was issued. It binds any and all parties with position of control over these donations. Yes, because, like contraband. This comes out of Breitbart also. Let him answer. He's not good at it. Heckling silences Justin Trudeau in Canadian Parliament. Leftist Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau faces jeers and insults in Parliament this past Tuesday as he once again faced questions regarding his derision towards citizens who oppose civil rights violations tied to the Chinese COOF. Trudeau and his had a contentious week in Parliament after vanishing from the public eye to an undisclosed site in January. Yes, he left the city along with his family because, pitchforks and torches. He returned on Monday to an emergency session discussing the Freedom Convoy, a series of protests led by truckers, more than 50,000 of them, demanding an end to the vax and mask mandates, business lockdowns, travel restrictions that Trudeau government has imposed in an attempt to contain the pandemic. Trudeau has repeatedly insisted he will not listen to any calls for lifting the mandates and restoring normal life to Canada. He's accused the protesters of racism and misogyny and equating them to Nazis in statements in Parliament on Monday. This coming from Conservative Party Candice Bergen. Quote, "This cannot be a slow and dragged out process simply because of the Prime Minister's ego, pride, or denial," Bergen said. "Canadians are tired. They need hope. So will the Prime Minister follow the actual science, follow the evidence, and the restrictions and the mandates?" Well, of course, we all know that Trudeau basically spat upon that. Now we go to this. This comes also out of Breitbart. MSNBC Hayes clown, Fox News host who screamed bloody murder if Black Lives Matter blocks an intersection, but they love Canadian truckers. Well, we know because remember the Summer of Love? Let's take a listen to this clown, shall we?
Remember back in 2009, first year of the Obama administration, when the Tea Party protests were just getting into swing, and Fox News hosts, whose network was still touting itself as fair and balanced, encouraged, promoted, even attended them.
Get ready to Tea Party.
April 15th, all across the country, citizens are standing up.
Fox on top of tea parties, full steam ahead.
Americans outraged over unfair and crippling taxes.
How
True.
to get involved in the
That's all
hundreds of
facts.
Tea Party protests. People at a a grassroots level are fed up.
Taking a stand at the Alamo. Citizens revolt against more taxes.
Let's take a look at all the hit shows here at Fox that are going to be covering the Tea Parties.
As Tea Parties sweep the nation on tax day, we're there with total, fair, and balanced network coverage. Live.
Oh, that's amazing. We're there with fair and balanced coverage. Truly incredible display of the unique role that one network plays in American political life. For many years, Fox News has been operating in this flatly propagandistic fashion. It really does shape our political. Ottawa, Canada's capital city, is clogged with giant trucks that refuse to move. Truckers are blockading an important international crossing, the one where like a quarter of U.S.-Canadian trade goes over. That's the Ambassador Bridge, which connects.
My thoughts. This was a mash of stories that I try to put together in a 10-minute segment. Of course, like I said, there will be editing. You have Canadian truckers fighting for freedom, basically saying, hey, yes, we are vaxxed, but at the same time, you want us to get boosted and triple boosted and quad boosted and 10 times boosted and whatever boosted. No, we're done. We're done. We're done. 2 weeks to curb the spread. Curb the spread? Yeah. How's that working? Now we're 2 years plus. It's clownish. It's absolute fucking clownish. So Canadian truckers said enough is enough. Enough is enough. You won't listen to us vocally, then we're going to do the next best thing, and that is use our abilities as truck drivers who actually move stuff from one place, to another place, from the U.S. to Canada, or from Canada province to another Canada province or city, said, yeah, you know what, you're not getting it. And we are willing to risk our livelihood because of it. And you will listen. But then again, Trudeau runs around going, well, you guys are Nazis. You guys are white supremes. You guys are holding swastika flags. How dare you? Why should I talk to you? I'm Justin Trudeau. I'm Canadian Prime Minister douchebag. Why should I talk to you? And then you got, what I love is that you got the conservatives in Canada actually holding his ass accountable, and rightly so. You have the debacle that was GoFundMe, freezing assets up to $90 million. Of course, that recently was released back to the those who donated, and now they're going after another platform in stopping their funds and freezing their assets. So that way the truckers can pretty much, they're basically trying to starve the truckers out. That's what they're trying to do. But the truckers are holding firm. Now you have a situation where you have American truck drivers who are stepping up and saying, listen, we got to support our Canadian brothers and sisters. Start off in Los Angeles and end in D.C. It's going to be fun. But with Chris Hayes, like I said, nobody watches this clown. This guy's an ass clown. For him to shoot his mouth off, and say how hypocritical Fox News is. Oh my goodness. How dare they, they scream bloody murder, Black Lives Matter. Yes, because how peaceful protesters, how they were so peaceful in 2020, major cities burning down to the ground, cops getting shot and killed, citizens, their residents getting upended to the tune of over $5 billion plus in damages, all because of the vaunted St. George Kirby, who they held up on high. It was all peaceful, wasn't it? Yeah. As all those who are affected, as businesses that were destroyed, their livelihoods destroyed because of Black Lives Matter trash, domestic terrorism at its best. But yet, they're still running around harping on January 6th. But I support Canada. I support the Canadian truck drivers. I support the Canadian citizens who just want their lives back. And as long as you have an asswipe like Justin Trudeau in power, and those like him, and now you got Dementia Boy whispering in his ear going, well, you might want to push a little harder using federal Canadian powers, and we got your back. We got your back. Because borders count. Unless it's the southern border where you're allowing hundreds of thousands of illegals cross the border on a daily basis. But fuck that. You're worried about Ukraine. Fuck America. This is the fucking government that we are dealing with. In Canada, you guys have been dealing with it for years. And God bless you guys. And with that being said, I'm Jasper Gonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more just like this? Excuse me. Please comment below, like it, share it, subscribe to it, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.